Hatham may listen, but will he understand? And even if he does, will he agree?
Even he must admit that we can achieve more together than we do alone.
I assume you're off to find him.
Yes. I ride for New York to see what might be done.
Well, hello everyone. Ogre27 Kane here today, and we're going to do a review of Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered for the Nintendo Switch. Let's do a little bit of an overview and figure out what we're talking about today. Now, this was released a few years back in a collection with Assassin's Creed 3 and Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation. Liberation, being a Vita game, is entirely different, and it's a pretty fun game in its own right and deserves its own review. So today we're just focusing on Assassin's Creed 3. Now, this remaster came out on everything, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, you name it. But I really enjoy having a portable version of this game. This game really highlights a fantastic story and a great time period in the Assassin's Creed franchise. In my opinion, this is the apex of the franchise, and really 3 and 4 are the best games to be had. So, without further ado, let's do gameplay. So the gameplay in this one is a perfect mix of exploration, city, world building, and finding all the collectibles. What I really enjoy about the gameplay in this one is that they really did refine the town and the interactions with the people themselves. I highly enjoyed this story. In fact, this is my favorite story in all of the Assassin's Creed series. I know this one gets a lot of hate because Connor's seen as kind of a dull, blah, boring character, but in my opinion, I really like him, and I really like the dichotomy between him and his father. It really makes the game and highlights what I love so much. I do have to give some spoilers here because I do show off one chapter in particular that really, I feel, highlights the relationship between Connor and Hatham. So, if you haven't played this game through yet, maybe hold off on the later part of it. So while this game does have the tried and true Assassin's Creed exploration and all of the cool elements in going to different towns and having a world between to explore, this game also really shows off the beginnings of the whole pirate ship thing and where they got the ideas for Assassin's Creed 4. The ship elements to this game are a little more difficult, and I show some off towards the end here. They're rough around the edges, and the game certainly wasn't built for it, but you can definitely see where the ideas came through, and frankly, it's pretty awesome. I really enjoy this. So, let's move on to the next category now, and the one I feel is kind of honestly my favorite, the story. So the story starts off with your character Connor being a young boy in his village which gets attacked by soldiers. You don't really know who they are, but your mom gets killed and the village gets wiped out, and you get taken in, eventually later on, by another assassin named Achilles. Achilles trains you and he gives you all the tools necessary to hunt down whoever killed your mom, and as you start to get into the story, you realize that it's a lot deeper and a lot more gray than you think it is. After tracking down your would-be father, you figure out that he was partially responsible for the death of your mother, but not fully at all. And he frankly doesn't even know a lot about what happened. So there's a lot of weird grayness at the beginning. You really have a black and white opinion of him, but towards the end, you really enjoy both characters, and the ending is kind of sad, so I don't really want to spoil too much of that. The other elements of the story that really fit in well with this are the American Revolution, and they did a fantastic job plugging all of the characters into it in a very loose fashion, if you will. It's not historically accurate, but it does take a lot of events and it does put them into certain categories which you might find entertaining. As a huge history buff myself, I really enjoyed a lot of the character references. I'm not a huge fan of the DLC. I didn't really think George Washington being bad was good, but let's move on now to combat. So the combat in this game is a lot of fun, but frankly it is not nearly as good as Assassin's Creed 4. The game has a tendency to give you a ton of crowds to deal with, and the crowd control elements are not very good. Your control scheme, if you will, is kind of loose, kind of rough, if you will. A lot of times the hit detection and collisions are off. A lot of times your timing with your counters and your break defenses don't really work, and a lot of times you're depending on other elements to help you through the fight. I really was kind of annoyed with this. It is definitely not my favorite aspect of the game, but I understand what they were trying to accomplish, and considering what we had with Assassin's Creed 2, it is kind of an upgrade and it does flow well. Moving with the free roam system and how it all works, I like it. So let's talk controls and audio. So back to the controls kind of on this one, we're going to talk a little bit about the world itself because the combat controls are contentious for me, but I absolutely love the world controls. The system they implemented in free running in this game is way better than Assassin's Creed 2, and it allows you to basically jump onto any ledge or building and use your run in conjunction with that. You're not having to tap 3 or 4 buttons like you did in 2, to where it's really confusing and hard in some of the later segments. Now let's talk audio, because I love the audio in this game, and I'm going to show some of it off because I really feel like it will speak for itself. So without further ado.
See if you can find something to pry it open. Connor? What are you up to? Oh, no. Don't do that. There's no way of knowing what's on the other side!
We do now.
Graphics and animations are up now. And this category I left for the end because it's definitely a huge upgrade over the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions, but it is rough. For some reason, the cutscenes have weird frame rate issues. They have pacing all over the place, and it's noticeable. If you have issues with frame rate and it causes motion sickness, I definitely recommend skipping all the cutscenes. Even though you'll miss the story and the best part of it, in my opinion, the cutscenes are really bad. But in the gameplay itself, I absolutely think the gameplay is very steady. Coming from what I used to play on the 360, getting around 20 frames or so on that game, having it run at a very solid 30 frames, especially in combat, works really well. As you can see here with the ship, there's a ton of animation quality going on with it and a lot of moving pieces, and they frankly did a really good job putting it all together. Now, this is definitely a 10, 15-year-old game at this point, and it really shows its age, but going back to it, it highlights what Ubisoft used to really take pride in, and that was a very seamless and fluid and smooth atmospheric game, to where all the elements fit together fantastically. Ubisoft used to be one of the kings of the crop in my opinion. Man, they've fallen off a lot, because this game was really up there. This 1, 3, and 4 were really the games that really put it over the edge, and I said Ubisoft is gonna be one of the greatest. Man, times have changed, haven't they, folks? The last thing I really want to mention about the animations in this game is that the characters look really goofy now. Love it. So let's do conclusion now. So in conclusion, this game is worth its price tag. I'm happy that they decided to remaster and update it for us. The game you can pick up for around $15-20 bucks now, and the only real downloads to it is Assassin's Creed Liberation. Assassin's Creed 3 is complete on the cartridge and is totally playable without any day one updates. So I highly recommend this. It's a good value, especially where it's sitting at now, folks. So to finish up, thank you for watching today's video. It was a blast to make. I upload every single Monday. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe, and have a great rest of your day. This is Ogre27 Kane, signing out.
What are you doing?
Ending this!